friends. Welcome to my online studio. My name is Kate, and today we are going to be looking a little bit at Chatturanga. Okay, so Chatturanga is a yoga pose that is often used as a transition whilst we flow through the vinyasa. Okay, so it's kind of called a yogi press up, if you like. So it's basically a press up, but you've got your elbows into your sides, not out to the sides like a regular press up. Yeah. And it is something that there is a lot of controversy about in the yoga world because the Chaturanga has been responsible, or it has been blamed, let's say, for a lot of shoulder injuries and a lot of like impingement of the shoulders and things like that. But actually, if Chaturanga is practiced with strength and mindfulness, there is no risk to your shoulders. Actually, what's worse for your shoulders is to be in downward facing dog, for example, or have weight on your hands and actively pull your shoulders away from your ears. Yeah, this is actually worse for your shoulders than any kind of press up that you could do. So we're going to look a little bit at Chaturanga. Now, we do go a little bit into a Chaturanga in my Easy Vinyasa tutorial, which you can look at. I will put the banner at the side of the screen, and you can do that. I feel so old when I say these things. Oh, I'll put the banner somewhere. Anyway, yeah. So I've done an Easy Vinyasa tutorial, and you can check that out by clicking on the banner. Okay, now in that tutorial, we leave the knees on the floor, which we're also going to be doing today. We're going to be leaving the knees on the floor, but we are going to explore the Chaturanga with the knees away from the floor. But this just means you have to be super mindful about what you feel, yeah? And really mindful about how your strength is today, okay? So if you're feeling a little bit, I don't want to say weak, but a little bit sort of like you are... if you're not feeling completely on form today and you feel like, oh, nah, that's not working for me, then keep your knees down on the floor. Yeah, it's really okay. What we're going to be working on is the strength for the shoulders. Yeah, and the keeping the back nice and straight as you come into the Chaturanga. Okay, so I'm going to face the sun, I think, because it's a beautiful day here, a lovely snowy day in Vienna. And yeah, we're going to work a little bit on that. Okay, so first of all, let's warm the wrists a little bit. Okay, so we are on the wrists for Chaturanga. Okay, it is a press up. All right, and anytime we're on our wrists, we do need to do a little bit of warm up for the wrists. Okay, so open your fingers nice and wide, spread them out really wide, and then imagine here that as you close your fists, you're going to make really tight fists, like you're grabbing something or like grabbing something out of the air. Okay, so we're going to open and close. Really big movements, really tight. Open and close. Open and close. Open and close. And we're going to go a little bit faster, okay? So open, close, open, close, open, close. Really big movements. Go for it. Now, my friends, we're going to go as fast as you can, as many times as you can. Open, close, open, close, open, close. Really, really do it, do it, do it. Yeah, well done. Really open and really close your fists. Tight, tight, tight fists. Really big movements. We'll go here. 5, keep going. 4, keep going. 3, you got it. Really big movements. 2 and 1. Shake out your wrists. Well done. So from here, my friends, we're going to end up on all fours somehow. Okay, so come on to all fours. And we'll find our way. Sit back on your heels. Yeah, and just take a moment here. Now, usually, as I said, the Chaturanga is done as part of the vinyasa. So the connective movements, the series of movements that we do in the vinyasa practice to connect a series of flows or yoga poses together. Yeah, it's a really good way to balance out the spine. And I will do a vinyasa tutorial as well. Yeah, and I will link that as well here. Once I've done it. Okay, so usually you would come from your downward facing dog into a plank, yeah? And then you would lower down into your Chaturanga, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to do that. We're going to come into a downward facing dog, okay? We're going to roll forwards into the plank, and then we're going to put the knees down the first couple of times we do this, okay? And then we're going to try with the knees lifted, all right? So from here, plant your hands underneath your shoulders. Make sure your fingers are nice and wide. Yeah, press your whole hand down into the mat. Bring your knees underneath your hips. Yeah, and take your knees about hips distance apart. Tuck your toes under. Shift your hips up and back and bring your arms level with your ears. So you're kind of in a downward facing dog from here. So make sure that your feet are parallel on your mat. Make sure your knees are facing directly forwards. Press, press, press your whole hand into the mat and press your shoulders up towards your ears. Okay, so it's really okay. You're pressing the floor away. Now I've done a downward facing dog tutorial and I will link that too. So press on the banner if you want to see my down dog tutorial. So we're not going to go into too much detail about that. We're going to go straight into our Chatturanga. So inhale, roll forwards into your plank pose. Press the floor away in your plank. Suck your kneecaps up your legs, take an inhale. And then as you exhale, put your knees down on the floor. Keep your toes tucked under, okay? So this is going to help us to shift the weight forwards a little bit. Now from here, my friends, Chatturanga is a press-up, okay? But it's a slightly different press-up in the fact that we roll the weight forwards, okay? So imagine from here that your shoulders are going to come forwards of your wrists, all right? And if already you're feeling like, whoa, that's too much, sit back on your heels, take a moment, shake out your wrists, okay? But really be mindful of what you're feeling. Shift your weight forwards over your wrists. Take an inhale here, and as you exhale, imagine that you're going to keep your body like a plank and lower down about halfway, yeah? So your shoulders are away from your ears and your elbows are about 90 degrees, but no more. Take an inhale, and then exhale, press back up. Now, the reason we press the weight forwards, you might want to sit back on your heels and I'll do a bit of explaining. Okay, we press the weight forwards over the wrist. And for that reason is because oftentimes in Chatturanga, what will happen, yeah, is that we will take the shoulders back and the elbows come down towards the floor. And we've got this sort of angle, yeah, of the forearm. Now, in yoga, that's okay. Yeah, there is no wrong way to do a yoga pose, but there are certain things that we do that make the alignment of the pose a little bit, shall we say, safer or effective. Yeah, more effective. Okay, and this is a shoulder strengthener. So if we're bending the elbows down to the floor, yes, you're working your shoulders a little bit, yeah, but not as much as if we keep this angle of the forearms, yeah, as a right angle, okay? So you can see here that the forearm is actually, it stays vertical. And that's the reason that we roll the weight forwards. So that when we bend the elbows, the forearm stays vertical. Now, if you have a yoga block, yeah, you can place the yoga block on its long end behind your wrist, yeah? And if, as you lower down, you knock it over, yeah, you know that you're sort of compromising a little bit on that. Okay, you can also use 2 toilet rolls stacked on top of each other. It also works. Okay, but yeah, this is the reason we roll the weight forwards and then lower down. Yeah, and what we don't want to do is lower all the way down to the floor so the chest comes down. Okay, we want to keep it strong. Okay, so we don't want the butt to come up to the sky. Yeah, we want the butt and the shoulders to stay in one line like a plank. Okay, so that's the reason we tuck the tailbone under and really imagine here that your hips and your shoulders stay in one line as you lean forwards and then bend your elbows 90 degrees. No more than 90 degrees, okay? And if 90 degrees doesn't work, bend them less than 90 degrees. Doesn't matter, okay? Your shoulders in your Chaturanga, they can poke forwards a little bit. That's okay, yeah? It doesn't matter. What we don't want to do is roll them all the way forwards and have them up by the ears, yeah? This is also a little bit ineffective, yeah? Different way to do the pose, but a little bit less effective, yeah? So we want the shoulders to stay relatively down away from the ears, and your shoulder blades, now this is the controversy. Oh, should the shoulder blades be pressing together, or should the shoulder blades be moving away from each other, yeah? So you have retraction and protraction of the shoulder blades, okay? Now, in Chaturanga, actually, both, yeah? Because you are actually in your plank position, when we come into a plank, your shoulder blades are in protraction, so they're moving away from each other. But as we lower down into Chatturanga, your shoulder blades retract a little bit, yeah? Because your hands are actually moving back towards your rib cage, okay? So it's almost as if, whereas usually you would have, in your plank pose, you're using a pushing away motion, yeah? You're pushing the floor away. Your shoulder blades protract, the top part of your spine rounds a little bit. As you come into your Chatturanga, actually what's happening on a structural level, so your bones, you are doing a pulling motion. Yeah, this is a pulling motion actually. But because you have your weight on your hands, yeah, you're using gravity. Yeah, this is still actually you're allowing, or you're pushing, you're not allowing gravity to win, if you like. So even though this is a pulling motion, which the shoulder blades would then retract, yeah, you're still having the weight of your body on your hands as you lower down. Yeah, so it's still a pushing force with a pulling motion. I hope that makes sense, yeah? So anything where you pull, your shoulder blades would usually retract, yeah? And that's okay, yeah? They would usually come towards each other. That's okay. Your shoulders can round a little bit, yeah? Because you've still got the weight of your hands, the weight of your body on your hands, yeah? It's okay that your shoulder blades round a little, but we don't want to go too far in that direction, yeah? No problem. Okay, so let's try again. We'll try a couple more times with the knees on the floor, and then we'll try to lift the knees away from the floor, okay? So we'll come into our downward facing dog, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Tuck your toes under, shift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take an inhale, roll forwards into your plank, and as you exhale, pop your knees down on the floor. Shift your weight forwards over your wrists. Keep your shoulders and your hips in one line and bend your elbows 90 degrees. Inhale at the bottom, exhale, press up. Sit back on your heels, shake out your wrists. Good job. That's a strong pose, okay? It's a really strong pose. So if you feel at the moment like that's too much for you, yeah, you can also do knees, chest and chin to the floor as you do your vinyasa. And I've done an easy vinyasa tutorial. I think I said earlier, and I'll link you to it. Yeah, let's try again. Place your hands down under your shoulders, tuck your toes under, shift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, roll forwards into your plank. Exhale, put your knees down on the floor. Inhale here, roll forwards of your wrists. Yeah, so your wrists are really in a good flexion, and then bend your elbows 90 degrees, no more. Keep your body strong. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, press up. Sit back on your heels. Okay, take a moment, shake out your wrists. Yeah, it's a tough one on the wrists. So from here, my friends, we'll try now without the knees down on the floor. Okay, so come back into your downward facing dog. Take an inhale here and an exhale out of your mouth. Inhale, roll forwards into your plank. Press the floor away. Your tailbone is tucked under. As you exhale, shift your weight forward. So you're going to roll forwards right onto your tippy toes so your shoulders come forwards of your wrists. Keep your body like a plank. Bend your elbows 90 degrees, no more. Inhale, exhale, all the way down. Good job. Now, if you felt as you rolled forwards that your hips came down before your shoulders did, okay, that might just mean that you need to build a little bit of upper body strength. That's it, yeah? So if that happened, if you ended up sort of going, yeah, put your knees on the floor. It's really okay. Put your knees on the floor and then bring everything down, but try and keep your body straight. Okay? So my friends, pressing yourself all the way back up, sit on your heels, take a moment here, shake out your wrists, and relax. Yeah? And the thing with Chatturanga is you need to have strong legs, strong shoulders, strong arms, and you need to keep your core quite strong, yeah? So your body is staying in one plank. It's actually called, Chatturanga means four-limbed staff pose. So you're strong like a staff, like a stick. Yeah, and your four limbs are on the floor, and you're like a stick, nice and straight, yeah, like a staff. Okay, so I hope Chaturanga makes a little bit more sense now to you. And if not, don't worry about it. It'll come, yeah? It'll come with practice. And that's the main thing about yoga. It is a practice, yeah? It's not a perfect. Okay, so don't worry too much. The only thing to worry about is if you feel pain. Yeah, if you feel pain anywhere, just stop. Be really mindful about what you're doing and be really mindful about where you are today. And that means being really honest with yourself, okay? You can always push and force yourself past your boundaries, but it might be better for you just to think to yourself, do you know what? Today, I'm just going to put my knees down on the floor. That's good enough. Yeah? So being really mindful about what you feel, okay? That's the main thing. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed my Chaturanga tutorial, and I hope to see you again soon on the mat. Take care of yourself. Bye.